Alright, so there are always a couple of projects that you want to finalize but you never do. This is one of these videos. So we want to build something crazy. Let's go. Alright, I got myself a little monitor here, which is a old M1 S19, and you might already see this. It does have some fan inlets and fan outlets here. I know the fan outlet is broken. I don't care about that. It's totally fine. What I want to do with that is there are 3 hashboards in it, and I want to remove 2 of them, and I want to put this thing outside because I want to run it on solar. That's the idea that I do have. Initially, I was thinking about building myself a huge solar array, yada yada yada. I will still do so, but it takes a little bit more time and obviously money, because man, solar panels are super cheap. You can get them for 50, 70, 80 bucks a piece, like for 500 watt panels. But when it comes to properly using the energy and storing the energy, that's a bit of a problem. I don't want to run this 24/7. I know running this 24/7 is stupid. So what I want to build is a system that allows me to use it as soon as power is available. And when power is no longer available, then I want to just shut it off. That's the basic idea. I do have looked up now for over 2 months what kind of components I do need, and I think I finally finalized it. I will roughly use a 15 kilowatt hour battery. I will use up to 3 kilowatts of solar power, and I want to make sure that this thing initially runs on like 600 watts ish, 600 to 800 watts, because it is what it is. There's no reason for it. I just want to start small and expand later on. And I don't want to use AC, so I will use DC directly, which is a huge pain, especially when you want to do multiple boards. For one board, that's okay. For a second board, it could be an issue. So we'll see. We'll see how this turns out, but I'll start working on this with just one single hashboard, and then later on we'll see. I know there are some builds like the bit chimney that's out there, which is using one single hashboard, but I don't have the 3D files, nor do I have the time to print them myself. And I got this donated, so I want to use this. This is basically just the first video to make sure that I do unscrew all the things that I don't need in there, and then later on I'll build the solar array in another video and everything else that is needed for building a solar setup and so on. I'm still not 100% sure if I really want to use DC, because it creates a couple of issues, especially when it comes to powering them. Like there is a 48 to 12 volt converter that I could use, but it only pulls out 720 watts maximum, 100%. You should go with only 80%, which leaves me at like 650, 670 at a good point-ish wattage that I could use. And I don't think that's efficient or good enough for running these boards. So the idea here is that I maybe in the last minute switch over to an AC build instead, but I don't know yet. I'll figure that out. And if I do so, I'll use Victron anyway. So let's quickly screw this one open, and let's quickly remove a couple of things that I don't need in there. So here we go. We do see we have like 3 hash boards, and they're all connected to this bus bar here. The idea here is to basically remove the one on the very right and the other one on the very left. You also see I don't have any fans connected, because you see that down here where I'm tapping with my foot. I know some of you don't like foot, but anyway, I do have this turbine that hooks up to the back of it and pushes the air through it. It's way more quieter than utilizing the standard fans that are attached usually to these boards. So yeah, that is the plan. And let me quickly just remove the screws for the first hash board, and then for the third one as well, because we don't want to use them. We just want to check out how this performs with just one single hash board. And yeah, I also need to remove these screws here. So here we go. Now we do have everything open and we can slide them out. Let's disconnect the first hash board and let's slide it out. Here we go. This is an S19 hash board. It's a lovely one. And before I do forget this entire piece got donated to me. A friend of mine who was also watching my YouTube videos found out that I wanted to build something with solar, and he was like, well dude, I have this S19 laying around. Do you want to have it? And I was like, heck yeah, but like, what do you want from it? And he was like, no, just pay me the shipping, that's totally fine. And so he did. Insane, like he just gave it to me for free. So that's the reason why I'm building this, why I'm even able to build this. So thanks again for you doing that. I really appreciate it. Without you, this entire project would take way longer and I wouldn't be able to do all this kind of cool videos that I'm now able to do. Thank you very much for doing that. So let's also remove the third hash board here so that we only have one single hash board in the middle left. I know this is not ideal, but it is what it is. So I don't care. The next thing that I want to make sure to do is I want to hook this up to AC again, and let's see how it performs well. Alrighty, what I've done now, I've plugged it into LAN and over there into my small networking rack, and in a second we will take a look on the screen if we can see it or not. It should now work. I've set up a VLAN explicitly for this. So my goal is, I do have my multimeter here with me. I want to measure it in just a second to make sure that everything is just fine. But apart from that, we want to run it, right? So let's try that. We're already hearing some noise. I don't see any voltage yet. Probably because the power supply is not yet online. It's not outputting anything yet. So we will see this in just a second. So let's see if it boots up or not. The goal right now is to figure out if it actually does what it is supposed to do. We're currently sitting at like 14-15 watts. Nothing is really happening there. Fans are spinning up, but not really that much is happening. The red lights are online. I don't know what this means. Maybe because it did recognize that not enough boards are there. I don't know. I'll need to check that in just a second. Yeah, it's not ramping up. Probably because the configuration that I've set up previously is not correct. So I'll quickly check the web UI. Alright, here we go. I now managed to set up the VLANs correctly. And there's brains running on this. You know how much I hate proprietary firmware, so we'll play around with these things a little bit later. But we got a signal, which is good. So now let me quickly check if I can go into the configuration and turn on the power supply. Minimum 1600, I said that. And let me quickly see which hash board this is. This should be maybe hashboard 2 or so. Let me just enable all hashboards. There we go. Invalid input values, 1700 maybe. Let me save that and let's see what it is doing. We still got like a red light down there. I just updated the configuration. I still don't see any power consumption yet. Let me go over to the dashboard. I'm not sure if I need to enable anything somewhere. Start mining device. So here we go. Now it's ramping up. And there's one important thing that I want to show you in just a second. I'm not really sure if it's a good idea how I have set it up here, but anyway, we see this in just a second. So it's ramping up, and I'm not sure if you do see that. We're currently sitting at like 400 watts, something like that. 420, 450 shortly. So these are good values. So let's see. We now do have power on it. So now there's a really important factor here. Don't try this at home, what I'm doing here. Never run this open. So let's quickly check how much we get. We get like 14.2 volts coming out of it. That's quite interesting. 14.2 volts coming out of it. We're sitting at like 560 watts. And hash rate is coming up. We're currently sitting at 12 terahash and climbing. The efficiency is already bad. I mean, one thing that I need to admit, the dashboard does look nice, but this is obviously a big miner, so it needs to look a little bit different. XOS for the Bitaxe obviously is designed for smaller devices, therefore the overall thing is different. But this thing is running, and yeah, I think I can play around with it a little bit. So running this with just a single hashboard seems to work. I'll give this a couple of seconds in order to spin up. We're currently sitting at like 590, 600 watts almost. And we are sitting at like 17 terahash currently. If I go into performance, let me see if I can enable auto tuning off. So the voltage range is quite interesting. I'll just leave it as it is, I think. That's probably the best idea to do and not play around too much with it. There's one thing that I need to do with these boards. They are these so-called edit boards that we've designed, which are basically USB-C boards that you can attach directly onto the hashboard. I want to play around with that. Not now, but maybe in the future, especially if I want to run this outdoors. But for now, taking a look on the power consumption, I mean, it's looking good. 600 watts. It's not too bad, right? Is it? And I think the noise is also not that bad. It works. It only can get better, right? It only can get better. So I need to play around with that. I also have another hashboard laying around that I should play around with. So currently sitting at 610 watts. Also, what you need to make sure is like the wattage that I showed you over there. That's just the miner. That does not count in the fan. The fan on full power is using like 100 watts or so. Right now, I don't know how much it is using. I'll shut it off and I'll bring it downstairs into the appropriate spot for it, right? Shall we? So here we go, my carport. I already do have a little bit of solar on top of it. But let's see. We now do have the miner up here. So the next thing that I need to do is I need to make some fan intakes here. Idea is to cut out a huge square shaped hole and make sure that it does not appear too much on the outside, and have some dust fans or dust thingies in front of the fan, so not too much dust gets blown through that. And then, even though I do know the 3D printing here is broken, I want to attach a pipe that is going all the way over here, and yeah, here's my other solar setup, and somewhere on this side out. So I need to figure out something.